Tonight, dear students, we shall be talking about different lenses. There are many lenses that we can use when we are critiquing a literary work or even movies or even things that we watch or see. For the purpose of starting third quarter, I'll be talking just maybe six or seven of these lenses. This is just an overview to make you ready of what's coming for the third quarter, which is critiquing literary work, and we can even explore on critiquing movies na rin, no? Tonight, let's talk about this. Also, I'm greeting my previous students. Some are in grade 11, some are in grade 12, some are in the university, pursuing their courses, yung mga dreams nila. One day, maybe maging kasamahan na natin sila dito sa ating school, or of course, they will be in another profession, and who knows, we might invite them. I like to tell dear students, ponderers, thinkers, who are tuning in, it's kind of saddening if you're not open-minded. If you're only coming from a single perspective, for example, ang alam mo lang ay yung elements of the story. Ang alam mo lang itong characters, and climax of the story, the conflict of the story, the way the story is written. We can say yung formalist lens, structuralist lens. If you're only coming from that, aren't you handicapped? For example, itong story na itong Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. There are values presented on this story. One such value is the value of gift giving, and the other value is self-sacrifice. These are values that is for Christmas. If you're coming from the moralist lens, or he or she would tell, this story is a good story, really a fantastic story. Jim, the main character, and Della, they both love each other. They presented the gifts to each other. Irony of situation. Jim sold his watch only to have Della. He did not know that Della sold her hair to buy yung sabitan ng kanyang relos. Ay napagbenta niya yung watch niya. Jim bought an exquisite comb. Magandang comb, pasuklay sa magandang buhok ni Della. Della already had sold her hair. So when they are presenting the gift to each other, lo, behold, and yung gift na para sa buhok mo, your hair is already short. And then your tali dun sa watch mo, your chain for the watch, wala na yung watch. An irony of situation. And then they hug each other knowing that they have given like the gifts of the Magi. And it's a romanticized story. Students, they say, oh, ganda ng story, selfless. It's Christmas, selfless. The value of gift giving. However, you're only coming from a moralist lens. There are other lenses. That's what I want to tell to students who are listening to this podcast. The formalist lens is all about the structure. Pleto Ricardo's ba yung mga elements of the story? Are this presented in an orderly manner? Like in the introduction, you introduce the character. The writer described them, and then there is a building of a problem, the rising of an action, and the antagonist is introduced. As the story progresses, the problem gets solved, the denouement, and then it can either be a happy ending or a sad ending. And mainly, there's unity in the work. There's cohesion. All the things that make it beautiful, like figurative language, those adjectives, those sensory images, no? May mga words na appealing to the eyesight, may mga words na appealing to the sense of smell, taste, emotion, itong mga imageries. All of this are crafted in a very good way. It's like a person or a group of people build a very good house. Lahat ng elements ng house, yung foundations, yung door, yung windows, they're properly placed. The paint, decorations, the roof, into a very good structure, a pleasing structure. This formalism, I feel students, dito madalas manggaling kayo, or dito madalas yung binibigay ng mga teachers. Formalist, elements of the story, and the moralist lens. However, there are other lenses. And ito nga yung lens is the Marxist lens. It's the lens of the workers. Ang story, ano ang saysay nito para sa isang worker? And if we're gonna have the ideal Marxist lens, it is something that's pro-work to improve the status of the worker. Workers of the world unite, di ba? Yung mga call yan ng Marxism. Using the example story, the Gift of the Magi. Remember, kanina, formalist lens, very good yung story, check. Maganda. And then we have the moralist lens, check pa rin, Maganda yung story, there is a value of gift giving. But For the Marxist lens, maganda ba yung story? So we got to analyze here the worker. Kanina sabi ko sa klase, sa aking mga students, I am a worker, your parents are also workers. For us to put food on the table, we have to work. Many of us, we don't have the capital, lands, buildings, the businesses. We don't owe it. We're just worker. We're just employees. Tayo yung mga trabahador lamang. So, the worker's lands is something pro-worker. So, we got to examine the worker in the story, which is Jim. So, I asked them, si Jim ba ay 6 na oras ang tatrabaho? 8 oras, 12 hours, or lampas pa? The answer, lampas po, sir. Si Jim ba ay kumikita ng malaki? No, sir. Actually, wala nga po silang pagkain. Nagugutom nga sila, sir. It's Christmas. Wala silang panregalo, sir. That's the situation of Jim in the story. And then, I asked further, si Jim ba ay nag-organize na? Like, for example, lahat ng magagawa, tinipon niya, and he talked to them, and he said, maybe we can ask the boss to change our condition. Taasan yung salary natin. It's Christmas. We don't even have food, and we don't have enough money to pay the rent. We don't even have money to buy gifts, and it's Christmas. Was Jim like that? I asked them, and they said, no, sir. So I would say, is Jim an ideal worker, working class hero, in the story? May mapupulot ba ang mga workers sa kanya? And they said, they think, and I said, wala, sir, So I said, then this story will be seen under a Marxist lens as oppressive, not good for the workers. It will not make the workers better. It will not even motivate them to see yung pang-api, na nagaganap, yung injustice, the oppressions that is not easily seen if you're not a critical thinker. So I say, there's also feminist lens. Ang lente ng mga kababaihan. Empowering the women. So we look at the female character, we look at Della. Is Della a good role model for women to be powerful? Or at least not powerful, at least equal to men? Does Della have a means to earn money? A strong woman character or a weak woman? Is she a strong woman? So, unfortunately, hindi po, sir. So, may matututunan ba mga kababaihan sa kanya? Magiging empowered ba ang mga women? So, the answer is also no. Ulit natin, formalistness, itong structure ng story. If you're coming from that point, maaaring maganda ako sa story. Hindi na pagkakagawa, Pero if you're coming from a point of a moralist, hindi pa rin. But if you're coming or considering the Marxist lens, medyo ekis doon. And if you're coming from the feminist lens, you cannot find a good role model for the woman. Ekis din. Sabihin ko, mga thinkers, mga ponderers, na narito sa channel na ito, it's good to know na maraming lenses. It's bad if we don't know na may mga lente pa lang ganun. May mga perspektibo pa lang ganun. In the world, there are many lenses, and the critical student must open his or her mind para mas maintindihan natin yung mga taong nanggagaling dito. By really using these lenses, we can assess and critique the story as, is it true? Totoo ba itong story na to? Itong movie na ito, is it good? Mabuti ba ito na mabasa or mapanood? Is it useful? There's also this historical lens, Historical lens, we're gonna assess the culture, the artifacts, yung mga bagay din na nasulat kasabay ng story na yon about that topic. So it's kind of really researching written facts, or history. Alala ko tuloy yung history chismis, hindi, mali yan, there are facts, existing written facts, artifacts, and some people who have preserved ideas, and maraming lente for literature, and the good thing is pwede rin natin gamitin sa movies yan, So when we meet in class ng mga students ko, we're gonna deep dive on this, with example outlines, with example ideas, tenets, teachings, and of course some essays that I personally wrote. Queer lens is another one, And this one is interesting. It's the lens of the, sabihin natin, gays, lesbians, Itong mga, yung mga soji, most of the time, ichikwera sila. Wala sila. It seems that they're not existing. And I feel, ito yung magiging dating nitong lens na to, What would a gay or a lesbian feel about that situation, how would they react. I think ang pinaka-point nitong podcast na ito, this is more of an overview that I'm preparing some video lessons for each of this that I'll be sharing here. I think it will be useful for the grade 10 who might be tuning or who have seen this channel. I'm gonna try my best to do podcasts like this. It's kind of tiring kasi talagang teachers in our minute settings, amin po setting really loaded with work. We even had a meeting sulat back on a narrative report about itong Catching Up Friday na. I'm also creating a video about this. Abangan niyo yan, and I'm really directing it to the students, and of course, yung po ating initial overview about these lenses. Ponderers, thinkers, thank you very much for listening to me. If you're tired sa ating araw na ito, I hope you get a good rest. Do continue being critical thinkers. In the next podcast, I promise something pa. It's about the experience of heat of students. Meron tayong mga pag-iisip dyan. Nga lang, say, critical thinking, hindi yung paspasan na pag-iisip. Talagang nagmumuni-muni ka. I think the right people to ask, philosophers of education, if our authorities are listening, ang makakatulong sa ating mga problems, is consulting those who are thinking about education, thinking deep, mga philosophers of education. I know some good people who are dedicating their lives on this one. Talagang deep thinkers. Marami akong natutunan sa kanila and they can help. There's also another podcast that I'm working on. Itong podcast na The Reading Crisis. Yan. So stand by kayo dyan, mga ponderers, mga students. And maraming salamat po sa pakikinig nitong podcast na ito. In the minute setting, sa aming maliit na setting lamang, aming mga bosses, sa aming tinig. Maraming salamat sa panonood. Don't forget to subscribe to help the channel grow and to reach more people and more students and to be of service for students and education. Thank you all.